Hello everyone, RTT is back with another review of the Conucopia expansion, and I must say, this expansion is perfectly balanced, as all things should be. So basically every card here has a really great effect, but also a good bit of a downside to it, so you have to really balance your deck around it to use the benefit the card gives you to the best, and mitigate the downside as much as possible. And that makes for some really fun cards. So this time I will go quickly over all of them to give you an idea how this balance takes place there. So the first card is FAIRGROUNDS, which is worth 2 victory points per 5 differently named cards you have rounded down. So yeah, the downside is already that it's rounded down, not rounded up, but other than that, it's a great card. It can be worth quite a lot, but it makes you want one of everything. So you want 1 copper, 1 silver, 1 gold, and 1 of every other card, so you can get the maximum points out of your FAIRGROUNDS. The downside, of course, is that you also want 1 curse, and you only get 1 FAIRGROUNDS because, you know, the 1 of everything rule. So in the end you have this 1 FAIRGROUNDS which is worth 8 or so points, which is amazing. But the downside is you had to get 1 of everything. The next one is Farming Village, which give you +2 actions. That's the benefit. The downside is that you only can draw treasures or action cards with it, and you discard the rest remaining cards. So yeah, you don't draw your province for another card that comes up here. You don't draw your estates to trash them or to do anything else with them. Basically you are limited in what you can draw, and that's always bad. I want to draw whatever is there and not be limited at that point. Fortune Teller. The benefit is that you get +2 coins, which is quite nice, but the downside, of course, is that you give your opponent, your opponent reveals cards from their deck and discards them until they reveal a victory card or curse. Well, that sounds bad, but in fact you give them information what's on top of their deck, and that's always great. There are plenty of cards which can use that, like Navigator, Native Village, or Mystic, and yeah, it's really great to know what's on top of your deck so that you can plan your turn accordingly. So quite a downside there. Hamlet is an easy one because you can get a village effect and even a plus buy, but the downside is you have to discard cards for it. So yeah, perfectly balanced card. Harvest is a great card. It can give you +4 coins. At most, you reveal the top 4 cards, and for each differently named card you revealed, you get +1 coin, so up to +4 coins, which is amazing. But the downside, of course, is that you discard the cards, so you don't draw them. Horse Trader is also easy. You get +1 by +3 coins, which is also very good, but you discard 2 cards. Like, otherwise this would be broken, right? +1 by +3 coins. It also has a reaction which is fine, but balanced by the fact that you get a +1 card when you get attacked, but some attacks let you discard, so it evens out that you have your normal hand size back. Horn of Plenty. It's an interesting treasure card that can gain you other cards based on how many differently named cards you have in play, which is a huge effect. But the downside, of course, is that it's a treasure that produces 0 coins, which is pretty bad. I mean, even copper produces 1, so it's worse than copper in that regard. Hunting Party has the same problem as Farming Village. It's nice, it increases your hand size, but you cannot control what you draw. You might discard your good cards and draw your points, or you might just not draw what you want. Like sometimes you want a lot of one specific card, Like, you want all your golds in your hand, and Hunting Party just doesn't do that for you. It skips all the cards you already have in hand. Jester gives you +2 coins and attacks the opponent, which is great. You can give out curses, but you might hit a card that is not a victory card, and then or curse, and then you have to decide whether you gain it or they gain it. And I mean, the card can also be already empty, the supply pile. So I mean, it's probably the card that has the lowest downside of all of them, because it rarely happens that the pile is empty. But I mean, you can't really control what it does. You want to curse your opponent with it, but it rarely happens. Menagerie, +1 action. Reveal your hand. If the revealed cards have different names, +3 cards. Otherwise, +1 card. So yeah, it's right here. The downside is if your hand has no differently named card, then it's just a +1 card, +1 action card for free, which is okay, but it's like, you know, the Great Hall effect, but it doesn't give you a point. So you really want the +3 cards, and then this card is amazing. But it really balanced it itself, because the card is so amazing, you want to gain a lot of them, and then you all have all those menageries in hand, which are duplicates, and then it doesn't activate. Yeah. Remake. Do this twice. Trash a card from your hand, then gain a card costing exactly 1 more than it. And yeah, it's okay, it's great. You can upgrade your cards, like your estates into silvers, your 5 costs into gold. Downside, of course, is that you don't gain anything for coppers and curses. And you don't gain anything for provinces. Well, you don't want to trash provinces anyway, and nothing for golds. But other than that, it's amazing. Tournament. +1 action, and then if no player reveals a province, +1 card, +1 coin. So that's a great card. But of course it gets worse when there's the greening phase, so the opponent can block it with its province. And yeah, but then it has another upside, another thing that happens, because if you have a province, so you can discard the province from your hand and gain any prize from the prize pile or a duchy. Usually the duchy is what you want first, because you are already in the greening phase when you have provinces in your hand. And at that point, you don't care for action cards. I mean, there are a nice consolidation price if duchies run out, but usually you take the duchy first, of course. So yeah, and this effect is once again balanced by the duchy going on top of your deck. So it makes your deck a little bit worse. And then Young Witch, which is an excellent card because it curses the opponent for just 4 coins. And it gives you +2 cards. And the downside, of course, is that you discard 2 cards and the other player can block the attack. So there's basically a free mode for every game the Young Witch is in, which is quite unfortunate, but it's still a good card. So there you have it. Probably my favorite expansion so far, with perfectly balanced cards, and I'm having a lot of fun with it and looking forward to the next expansions that may come in the future. Goodbye.